Hi everyone. In this video, we are going to discuss object-oriented programming basics and classes and objects in Python. Let us start with object-oriented programming principles. We are not going much detail into all the object-oriented programming principles, but we will start with what is object-oriented programming and how Python is doing that, how Python is supporting that. After that, we will discuss classes and objects. Now, object-oriented programming is an application development strategy. Okay, so you can develop an application or you can create an application by using different programming strategies in this coding world. But uh, the most efficient way of uh, developing applications is object-oriented programming. So in the previous strategies, for example, procedure-oriented or function-oriented programming, the application could be divided into number of functions, and a collection of functions can represent a particular application. So there, the data is not playing an important role. Only the functions are making that application. Suppose if any particular data is present in that application, then that data is common among all the functions. So what will happen? The data can be accessed by all the functions, and it may be tampered, or it may be unused, unauthorized way, by that particular function or one or more functions. So to overcome that, the problem of very lack of security in the function oriented programming strategy, Python, or generally the object-oriented programming strategy was developed. And in object-oriented programming strategy, the data is playing an important role. So a data and set of functions that can operate on the data will be grouped together into a single unit, so that the data is restricted from access uh, by the outsiders or outside units or outside functions, so that data is protected or saved. So the ultimate aim of developing an application using object-oriented programming strategy is to protect the data from unauthorized access. So here, the application is a collection of objects. In object-oriented programming, an application is considered as collection of objects. What is an object? Any real-world entity can be considered as an object. A table can be considered as an object. A laptop can be considered as an object. A phone, a cell phone can be considered as an object. How can you say that a particular thing is object? Because any real world entity that possesses set of properties and behavior can be considered as an object. So a laptop has some properties. So what's a property? An attribute that defines that particular uh, object. This is called as attribute. So laptop may have a brand, it may have a processor specification, it may have RAM specification, right? And a laptop can open or can close, it can start, it can shut down, right? It can do some functions, so that is called behavior. So any real world entity that possesses set of properties and behavior is called an object. Not only the tangible things like laptop or table or a book, right? Any anything which is virtual can also be considered as an object. For example, a bank account. So a bank account is actually is not a tangible thing, so it's virtual, right? You cannot touch and feel it. Still, it's an object because a bank account has a customer or account holder name, an account number, then an ID, then some online transaction username, password, then bank balance, right? So a lot of things are there for a bank account. And even it can have deposit, withdraw, then it can have some such transactions, right, possible with that bank account. In that case, bank account is also an object. So any real world entity, it may be physically existing or virtual, but it possesses set of properties and behavior is called an object. Python is an object oriented programming language specially saying it's a partial object-oriented programming language. That means if you are going to use, or if you're creating a Python application, it's not necessary that you have to use the classes and objects. So without creating a class, user defined class, you can create an object, you can create an application and run it, right? So other partial object-oriented programming languages are C++. C++ is partial object-oriented programming language. That means without class and objects, you can create an application and run it. But one thing you have to understand, we no need to create any class in our program, but still classes are there in the programs, right? So for example, if you want to have a data type in your application, data types are nothing but the classes, predefined classes. Data types are nothing but the predefined classes. For example, integer is a predefined class, then float is a predefined class, then dictionary is a predefined class, dict is a predefined class, or str string is a predefined class. So you no need to specify explicitly an class in your program, but still everything is based on the classes and objects only. So when you are not using the classes and objects explicitly in your program, then you can say that that particular application is partial object oriented programming application, right? Now here let us move into the class concept in Python. So in general context, what is a class? Okay, class is a collection of objects that possess set of common properties and behavior. It's called class. So if you want to group a set of objects together, then you can use okay, by common properties and behavior, then you can say that it's a class. But when you are seeing in programming context, what's a class is actually a collection of data, a collection of data. But the thing is, when you are representing a collection of data of different data types, okay, normally we can use a data of similar data types, but in some of the applications we cannot expect that all the data will be of same type. For example, if you assume that if you are creating an application for an employee management system, then employee's name, employee's age, employee's identifier or id or designation, date of joining, salary, all these are different types of data. So if you want to represent different types of data in your application, we have two choices in Python. One is you can use list. So list is supporting data or data objects of different types in it. But what is the problem here is, if you are using list, right, you have to specifically mention exact data that is going to be there in the list. Sometimes it is very difficult to predict the data that is going to be there, or data which is already we cannot predict the data that is going to be processed by the application, okay, until the program is run or application is running. So that is the problem here. And second thing is, when you're using list, the size of the code will be higher, right? It will be larger. So what we are using is classes. So classes are the collection of data of different data types. Okay, it's a collection of data of different data types. So what will happen is, you can create a class. That class is actually a blueprint. Okay, that means it's a common framework in which a particular class, for example, employee system will have one variable for the employee name, and then one variable for employee's age, then one variable for identifier, one variable for designation, one variable for salary. And how can you assume a class in programming context is like an application form that is empty. So application form is actually a basic application form is empty, means it's a basic framework. Now if you want to have details in that, you make a copy of that basic application form and supply it to the concerned user, and the user will fill that application form. Now that copy of that application form is filled with content. So the basic framework or the basic application form, you can think like that, a basic application form can be the example, or it can be the analogy to the class. So class is a framework, it's a blueprint without any value. It's simply the framework or outer line of a particular content, right? So here the classes are the blueprints of instances or objects we are going to have in our programs, and classes are just like a application form or like frameworks, right? And they are not having any data. Okay, they are not having any data. Simply they are the empty forms, application forms. Next thing is classes are the real-time implementation of encapsulation. As I said to you, encapsulation is the process of grouping data and functions. For example, if you want to protect the data from outside access, then you can have the data and which are all the functions that are privileged to access the data can be grouped into the same capsule. Then it is called encapsulation. So here class is the best way of implementing encapsulation. So you can group a set of data or variables and set of functions that can operate on that variable into a single class, right? So it's a real-time implementation of an encapsulation concept in object-oriented programming, right? So now let us move to defining a class. So a class definition, okay, a class definition means implementation of the class starts with a keyword class and then followed by a user defined class name, a user preferred class name, and finally that it's ending with a semicolon, because class is also a block. It's also denoting a collection of statements, okay, that belongs to the particular class. So it's a block, and in Python we are representing the blocks using colon symbol. So class keyword space the class name, okay, then a colon. So here that is the syntax: class keyword, then the user defined class name, then ends with a colon. And once you enter colon, then automatically the cursor will move to the next line after some automatic indentation. That means after leaving some tab space here, it will place the cursor, okay, in the next line. In that case, all the instructions or statements that follows that particular indentation can be considered as part of this class, right? So that collection of statements is forming the body of the class. One important notation we use to, or one important convention we use to follow when we are giving class names is actually capitalized words. So when you're having multiple names in a class, then the first letter or first character of every uh, name or every word in that particular class name should be in capital letter. For example, here just is a syntax. Here C is uppercase, then N is uppercase, or C and N are the capital letters. So this is how you can represent a class name. It's a standard or professional way of or conventional way of representing classes or class names in Python. Here for example, employee profile can be represented as employee one word and profile another word. So the first letter of employee is E, that is capital letter. Then first letter of profile, that is P, is also capital letter. Now the syntax of class definition is starting with a class keyword, then a class name, then followed by a colon to denote the block of that class. After that, it's an optional docstring. So already we discussed docstring in function definition. So docstring is a user-defined string that is denoting or that is providing some description about this particular class. And it's considered as an attribute of this class, just like other variables. Docstring is also considered as an attribute of this class. You can provide any string that is describing this class in this docstring within set of triple single quotes or triple double quotes, and you can print that docstring attribute, okay, using print statements, right? So we will discuss it later. Now, for example, on sample example, class is a keyword, my class is the user defined class name, then colon is denoting the block of that particular class. Now this is the docstring. Okay. So any collection of characters represents or describes that particular class is called docstring. Now it is given within set of or three triple double quotes or triple single quotes. And now after that, function body is the collection of statements that forms the body of the class. Sorry, not function body. It is a class body. So class body is the collection of statements that forms the uh, body of that class. That means the statements that implements that class. Now we can have a sample class in our Python idle. For example, let me create a class with a keyword class, then space. For example, my class is the name I provide. So if you want to use the normal convention, right? Capital letters should be there in every word. Okay, that means the first character of every word should be in capital. So now my, that means M and C are in capital letters. Now ends with a colon. Now you see, once I press enter, just like function body, the class body is also starting with an automatic indentation, auto indentation after a tab space in from the next line. Now let me give a small doc string here with within set of or within triple double quotes. So this is set of triple double quotes. For example, this this class describes my details. Just let me give a small doc string about this particular class. Right, this class describes my details. Now doc string is created. Now let us declare or define the function body. So since we have not entered much into that class, let us have a small example. One is, let me have a variable, for example name, and that is denoting my name. So let me give a name value for it. So this is another specialty of Python. So at the place of declaring the variable or data member, you can provide the name for it, or the initial value for it, right? So name equal to, then one standard name is given or standard value is given for it. So this is possible in Python. Now next one is, let me have another variable, for example age. For example 38 is the age. Now two variables are created in this class, my class. So name equal to Felix and age is equal to 38, right? So this is a sample class. But as I said to you, there is no use with the class if you are not creating the instance of it, because you have an empty application form, right? So class is an empty application form. It's a blueprint. But what is the use of having an empty application form in your hand without data? So if you want to have data in your hand, then what you want to have, you want to have the copy of that application form and let it be filled with data, right? Now here this my class is a class, that's a blueprint. It's just a blueprint. And if you want to, uh, have valid data in it, what you want to do is you want to create the copy of it. Okay, so that is what called as instance or object, right? So that is what we are going to discuss next. But before that, in this, let us discuss how to display the doc string of that particular class. So doc string is a special attribute in any class that can be described using double underscore doc double underscore. And this is the attribute, okay, it's the name of the attribute that denotes the doc string of your class. How can you access this doc string? Is by using this attribute name double underscore doc double underscore. For example, print double underscore doc double underscore. But for which elements doc string you want to print is actually your class doc string. So in that case, you have to provide your class name, right? Then dot, then doc string. Okay. So the class name, then dot, the doc string attribute. So this is the doc string attribute. Okay. Now let us run the code. So class demo, for example, right? You see, it is just displaying the doc string of your class. Just displaying the doc string of your class. Now this is how you can display the doc string or extract the doc string of your class. Now let us move to the next content. Next one is, as I told you, there is no use with a class if you are not creating an instance for that class. If you are not creating instance for that class. But there is another way of accessing these members. Okay. Actually, it's another important concept in Python, that is, it's called class variables. Suppose if you are declaring a variable outside any of the functions in the class, for example like this, name equal to, then age is equal to, it's not belong to any of the function. In that case, it's called class variable. That means it's belonging to the class itself. So it's another important concept. Let us discuss that in a special or separate video on the class variables and instance variables. Now, just you think that you declare two variables in the class and it's outside any function because we have not defined any function so far. So these two variables are considered as the class variables. They belong to this particular class. So they can be accessed using the class names itself. For example, print class name is my class dot, then the name of the variable is name. Like that, print my class, then age. So when you are declaring a variable outside a function uh, like this, then it is called class variable, and you can access the variables or name values of the variables by using the class name itself like this. Now let us run the code. Yes, now it's accessible through the class name. These two variables are class variables, and they are accessible through the class names. And let us discuss this class variables and instance variables in another class, in another video. Right now, let us move to the next one: how to access this uh, members of a particular class. As I said to you, so if you want to have a meaningful data in your hand, then you have to create a copy of that class. So class is the blueprint, and you have to create the copy of the class. That copy will contain actual values. Okay, so your class will not contain the values because it's just a framework. It will contain only the outline or the attributes and some of the basic behaviors. And if you want to have real data, right, in your application, then you have to create the object. You have to create the copy of that class. That's called as object, or otherwise it's called instance of that class. So the process of creating an object for your class is called instantiation. Now let us learn how to create instance for your class. So the syntax for creating instance for a class is actually an object name, use the defined object name, equal to, then the class name for which you want to create object, then set of parentheses, opening and closing parentheses. So the syntax of creating an object for a class is made very simple in Python, not like other programming languages. So here simply the object name is mentioned, then okay, when equal to, then here the class name for which that object is created, and the set of parentheses denotes the constructor to be called when you are creating an object. And we will discuss this constructors, especially the init function or init method, in another class, in another video. Right now, let us discuss how to create an object for this class. For example, now let me leave this, okay, and let me create an object for this class, my class. So let me assume that the class name, or sorry, object name is my class, or otherwise uh, my profile, right, equal to, then class name, for example, my class, then opening and closing parentheses. That's all. This is a very simple syntax to create an object for your class. So now once you created an object for the class, what will happen is one copy of everything in your class will be created. That means one copy of your instance variables, one copy of all the methods will be created, but a copy of class variables is not created because only one copy will be maintained, and I will explain that in another video in class variables. Now when you are creating an object, for example, if you assume that you are having a textbook in your hand and that is original or blueprint, and if you are making the copy of it, whatever you have in your original textbook will be there in the copy also, right? That content will be there in the copy also. So like that, when you are creating an object for your class, one copy of all the instance variables will be there in that object also, right? And you can have values for it. Now what I do is I am not getting into that, okay, because in Python you can create the instance variables only within the constructor, especially the init method. We have not discussed init method so far, so we will stop with this. Now this object is created. Now I can access this name and age using this object also, because even though this name and age are the okay, they are the belongings of this my class, okay, you can access this using an object also. For example, print object name is my profile dot, then the name of the variable is name. So like that, print my profile dot age. Now I printed both the class variables by using object. Okay, now let me run the code. Yes, again both are accessed, right? The two values of the two variables are accessed. Okay, and this is how you can create an object for a class and how to access the data members of a class. So I hope that you understood how to what is class and how to define a class in Python, and how to access the data members of a class using Python object, and how to create an object for a class, and especially a simple hint about the class variables also, right? So keep on practicing programming, and happy programming. Thank you.